Welcome to Loudoun County, Virginia in the USL Championship on this Wednesday evening, where we've got an intriguing matchup between two teams already eliminated from the postseason. Loudoun's lost 3 in a row, but back in friendly confines of Segra Field to take on Hartford Athletic, maybe the hottest team in the Eastern Conference. Mike Watts, Ricky Lopez, Espen, the standings don't lie. Everyone in the bottom 7 in the East is already out. And yet you talk to both coaches, there's a lot to play for tonight.
There's a ton to play for both of these organizations. For Loudoun United, you're looking at your MLS team, you're looking at your contract next year. Tab Ramos and Hartford Athletic, you're looking for a new start coming next year. It's not very interesting when you have coach comes in this late to prove yourself to him, to the organization that you deserve to play in this team in 2023.
These two sides met earlier this year, and the Bonanza had quite the experience. It was a long losing skid early in the year after a season-opening victory for Hartford. Joel Johnson that got the winner. This was a long time ago, May 7th. Hartford's now on their 3rd coach since then. And for Loudoun United, they're just starting to get this group to coalesce together a little bit more. They seem to punch above their weight. And Ricky, you think about this Loudoun group, they started poorly, to be sure, but when you talk to Ryan Martin, it sounds like there are incremental pieces of progress.
And it's something to expect when you're giving players that are this young of age the opportunity to play in a professional league, to get their debut. You're going to get that inexperience, the ups and downs. But I asked Ryan Martin, said, what is the biggest growth? He said, look, game management, knowing how to grind out results, and look for them tonight at home to take this game to Hartford Athletic.
Meanwhile, this Hartford Athletic side named Tab Ramos their head coach after Ray Reed, the sporting director, had led the group after Harry Watling was parting ways with the team over the summer. 4-0-1 in the last 5. Tab is 3 wins from 3 games.
And when a coach comes in, obviously you want to make your mark. You want to prove to himself that you deserve to be on the field. Tab, I know from personal experience, he wants to play attack-minded. He wants to get out in transition, but he wants the ball as well. Players are grasping that ideas, and you can see from the results, scoring 3 goals in all 3 games that he's been in head coach. So expect Hartford Athletic to keep the ball rolling.
All right, we'll roll the ball out here in a moment. Take a look at lineups. And these fans came for goals. And say what you want about Loudoun and Hartford this year, they don't play 0-0 draws. We're back at Segra Field with kickoff in this championship action on a Wednesday night. Loudoun Hartford is coming up next.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Ryan Martin being honored pregame, his 100th game as the manager. He took over during a rocky period in May of 2019. And he has led to the debut of a vast number of players in Loudoun County, many of whom have found their way into DC United's first team. Congratulations to one of the really good guys in the USL Championship, and I think we can agree a good friend as well. Let's take a look at the lineup for Loudoun United. First start for Akamboni at outside back. Van Steeg, Robinson, Green make up a backline that's got a little steadier.
And just look at those middle three, Downs, Landry, and Cudi Pietro to dictate tempo, move the ball from left to right. You have Kermani Smith on the left-hand side, and you have Simonson as a focal point. But look for Diarra to test the shape of Hartford Athletic and that backline. Really talented starting 11 for Ryan Martin.
And here's the 11 that Tab Ramos has put out. The new Sheriff, same as the old Sheriff in terms of the 11.
And you're going to see a lot of fluidity. You're going to see Vaso maybe play a bit higher, Lewis drop in, and then you have Brewitt being that focal point, that pivot play right in front of that back line, and then you have Danny Barrera. We know what he's all about. Ariel Martinez is going to drop in a little bit and let Prince Sadie run in behind.
All right, Simonson's over the ball for Loudoun United, trying to end a 3-game losing skid. Looking for their 8th win of the season and their first ever win against Hartford. Here we go on a Wednesday night. It's Loudoun United and Hartford Athletic meeting in Loudoun County. Early pressure from Simonson on the back line. That aggressive center back pairing for Hartford, point for really both coaches when we had a chance to speak with both Tab and Ryan this week. For Hartford, that's a big portion of how Tab Ramos goes about his system. Those center backs. For Loudoun, they think maybe if one of them steps off that line, they can get a little aggressive in return.
And Ryan Martin's going to want to overload the middle of the field. Cudi Pietro, Simonson drop in. And then you have Tulu and Jadama being able to step. So they need to be extremely disciplined as one steps, one covers, because you can't be caught on the same line. This Loudoun United side has a lot of pace going in behind, so watch out for that in the defensive unit of Hartford Athletic.
Robinson back to Zamudio. Brought down by Cudi Pietro. Diarra. Offside flag likely would have gone up on Cudi Pietro. Got into the scoring column last time out, shortly before halftime at Louisville City. Look, I think that, well, here's a poor giveaway right to Barrera. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder as to how that Louisville game concluded. Ball spiked across and out of the reach of Prince Sadie.
And it's a good understanding between Budati and Peter Lee Vassell on this right-hand side. The timing is perfection to let Akamboni really commit, and then you release Budati. But if you're Prince Sadie, you need to get on your bike, get on the end of that. If you're Tab Ramos, right early start, you have to be pleased 2 minutes into this match.
Hold up play from Stevenson, he goes down. For Loudoun, they felt like good moment character-wise in their ability to seal the deal against Louisville in an attempt to come back. They went 3-0 down, got it to 3-2. They didn't ultimately pick up any points away at Louisville City, top team in the Eastern Conference. They did show some resolve. Surely Louisville, based on the comments of Danny Cruz after the game, felt like they had let off a bit. That's going to fall to Diarra. And sent toward target. Odell gives it a cursory wave.
And second balls are going to be extremely important for both sides. Hartford Athletic plays with that single pivot, which is Tom Brewitt, so there's going to be a lot of real estate on either side of him. So if you're Diarra, Cudi Pietro, your second action needs to be spot on.
Diarra, with a ton of English on it. That'll be a corner. And he's taking the brunt of this really uncomfortable moment for Diarra, who signed back in April, 9th start of the season. Player from Cote d'Ivoire.
It's a Loudoun United corner, so we all need all you fans in red and white to get up and...
Everybody clap your hands. Come on, y'all.
I didn't know you were the DJ for this game, Ricky. Good for you, pal.
I don't have the music taste that you do, Mike.
I don't know if you even know what that means.
Music taste?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Cudi Pietro puts this across. I mean, my music taste?
I've heard you blast some tunes here.
Sure. Okay. Green to throw. Conceded the penalty. It was one of the number of sort of mental errors that Ryan Martin discussed with us this week. You've already got Brian Ownby turned the other way. Why are you going to ground in that moment? Just things that maybe a more experienced player wouldn't do, but you have to gain the experience to get there.
That's something I touched on in the open. Obviously, these young players, the more experience they get, they're going to know how to deal with different situations, different parts of the field. Like we talked to Ryan Martin, said, look, he's gone. There's no need to go down. He's facing the other way. But as you get more game experience, you're going to understand just move your feet and just put him out to the end line.
Cudi Pietro serves. And the ball's away. Green collects. Rousseau. Shimmy from Diarra. Downs. Along by Vom Stieg. It's the 12th all-time meeting between these two teams. Hartford is 10 wins, 0 losses, 1 draw in the series. Only draw came back in that 2020 campaign where they played each other 4 times. Very few 12-point, 16-point sweeps. Let's take a look at the keys to the game. They're brought to you by Country Buick. Limit the midfield influence.
That middle three for Hartford Athletic. Clearly Vassell, Barrera, Brewitt, Andre Lewis as well dropping in. They are the key to this side for Tab Ramos. As they go, the team goes. And then if you're Hartford Athletic, get those front 3 involved. You need to get Ario Martinez on the ball. You have to get Prince Sadie stretching in behind with that real estate. Really explosive starting 11 and attacking unit for Hartford Athletics. So how quickly can they get confidence and in a rhythm?
Didn't reach Budati. Cudi Pietro. That's brilliant. Smith. Loaned into Loudoun United for the night. Wasn't able to corral that.
It just shows you the talent that Cudi Pietro has. The ability to skip through players, not only through passing, but just to drive with that ball, requires so much attention, then have the ability to pick out a pass over 30 yards, reverse ball. Marty Smith, you're going to want this one back, have a cleaner first touch, but the reason why Loudoun United and DC United are just so high on Ted Cudi Pietro.
They're high on about half the starting lineup because they've signed 6 players into the DC United team out of this group. Good dribble by Brewitt, who's moved into that holding midfield role. Lewis. Chadama. Scoop that up toward Johnson. Green. Zamudio. Lewis did well to bring that into Barrera. Return to Lewis. Sadie. Lewis kept on side unmarked. Second bite of the apple, scoops it up, gets it over Martinez.
Ryan Martin on this right-hand side is going to want Green and Robinson on the same page. You can't be stretched out that much. So much time for Andre Lewis just to push up to a line higher inside that 18-yard box. Just lacking that last bit of quality for that man right there. But if you're Loudoun United, your lines need to be a lot tighter.
Barrera, delightful ball. Martinez trailing Johnson, trapped that with aplomb. Good save by Zamudio, simple and comfortable in the end.
You just see how fluid they are on the attacking phase. And Joel Johnson peels out to his left-hand side. It's Ario Martinez making a deep lying run. Really unselfish, just to roll us into the path, but Ario Martinez is going to want this one back. Would give credit to Jalen Robinson, making life extremely difficult for the Cuban.
All crowd here tonight. This is a wet Wednesday. Got $3 beers tonight. As opposed to a dry Tuesday. I don't know what the cost is then. Chipped in. Diarra. Jadama. Some emergency defending.
And as his back line of Hartford Athletic is caught a bit high, good movement and understanding from Diarra. But it's just so difficult as his ball needs to come down. Jadama does extremely well in the recovery run to get there before that man, but he's been a bright spot from Ryan Martin's side so far in this first half. Diarra has.
That header skims off the head of Vom Steeg.
It's going to be very interesting to see this Hartford Athletic side in their defensive unit. Yes, they like to commit a lot of numbers forward. Tom Ramos wants to score goals. He wants to play on the front foot, attack-minded football. You're going to have Joel Johnson. You're going to have Budati get into the attacking phase a lot. But as they commit a lot of numbers forward, it leaves them extremely vulnerable on the back end. So if you're Loudoun United, you're forced to turn over. Your first look needs to be forward into the feet of DR, into the feet of Simonson, including Pietro. That's where you're going to be able to unbalance his back line of Hartford Athletic.
Well, Budati got taken out. Referee using this occasion to get everybody on the same page. Johnson. You know, Ricky, it probably sounds like I'm lauding your past life as a pro footballer before turning to commentary, but it's amazing. We had that view of Joel Johnson right on the touchline. Talking to Tab Ramos, he goes, you don't really realize on tape, on video, how technical the level is, this level. You played in MLS and obviously played in the championship in League One. You know it as well as anybody. There are a lot of good footballers here.
There's a ton. Even looking at this game right here, guys that are in the future, guys that are later part of their career, guys that are in the prime right now. A ton of football. Just a game of soccer, football, whatever you want to call it, has been growing in this country at a rapid pace. This man right here on the ball as well is going to have a bright future for it in this DC United organization. The ability, something that a lot of people, when they come over, it's the first thing that, like what Tab Ramos says, I didn't realize how good these players are.
Look, if you're Jacob Green, this is your 69th pro game at 19 years old. But that's normal overseas. It should be normal here.
And you have to give credit to Ryan Martin as well. The amount of players that he's brought in, giving them the opportunity, pumping players into that first team. You have Wayne Rooney coming in, a coach that wants to touch into the youth, get them involved as well.
Bumming through, didn't find Sadie. On this, the 100th match that he's managed this Loudoun United team. talked about the little victories that come along. Kevin Paredes debut for Matai Akamboni at the age of 15 in MLS this weekend. Sadie. Prince Sadie does the business, rolls it across and cut back through. Oh, Matai, I think that was, living a little dangerously. Daniel Chesky whistles, that's a free kick.
Brilliant opportunity here for Hartford Athletic. Prince Sadie sends Jacob Green the wrong way. But if you're a striker wearing blue, you need to get on your bike and get inside that 6-yard box. You can see Ariel Martinez is trying to go for this cutback. Not a true out-and-out number 9. Making that near post run. One, if you get on the ball, it's an easy tap in. If not, you just pull a player with you and open up space for that secondary runner. But Vassal needs to make that second back post run. So lacking so far for Hartford Athletic in this first half.
Bugatti back now to Tulu. Only his 15th start this year. Some injuries. They do like this center back pairing, moving Brewitt higher up the field. Pitchfork forward, Sadie. Stumbled through it.
Just don't see him on the same page there. Sadie and Martinez, you can see as he has a little hand gesture, wants him to make that deep run. Ariel Martinez is a player that wants the ball to his feet. Very clever in tight spaces. You get on the same page in this match, this left winger and the striker for Tab Ramos' side. I'm going back to our chat with Tab Ramos. I really do like Tom Bruin pushes up as that single pivot in the midfield. Very hard in the challenge, but very comfortable on the ball as well. It's not often you see players that do both sides of the ball extremely well. Very good defensively, but can read games as well, and has a very good understanding between him and Jadam and Tulu since they've played together in that center back pairing. And that leaves a lot of space for Danny Barrera, Andre Lewis to go up and operate as well. Does so much for this Hartford Athletic side in that number 6 position.
It's unique with Brewitt. His initial connection to Harry Watling is how close Harry was to his academy coach at Liverpool. Coached him in the under-23s. Ultimately cast aside, told he would have to walk alone, made the walk across the Atlantic Ocean, and reunited through that connection, but arrived as a center back. Only his 4th game at the pro level playing that single pivot. Akamboni, by the way, 3rd youngest player to feature in MLS history. Freddie Adu and Alfonso Davies younger. Obed Vargas just 22 days older.
Not bad company to be involved in.
No. You know, a lot of people in what Freddie Adu could have been obviously came up through DC United. It was a very different time in a number of ways. I have a feeling a good number of footballers, while he didn't turn out exactly the way people anticipated or hoped, would take his career right now in a heartbeat.
100%.
All that said, I'm sure Matai hopes it's closer to Alfonso Davies. Whistle from Chesky.
Loudoun's having a difficult time dealing with this high press from Hartford Athletic, especially playing through the middle of the field, whether it's Nicky Downs, whether it's Husu Landry. We need to stay in that middle of the field to pull players like Danny Barrera, like Andre Lewis out of position and leave Tom Brewitt exposed alone. That's where you're going to have the most running off of Simonson. When you're pulling out Tulu, you're pulling out Shadama. If you're unable to get past that first line, it'll be a very difficult match to play through the lines in terms of possession.
Well, that's not feeling great.
We've seen a lot of this. Simonson popping off that back line, the secondary runners. As Tulu comes in, it's a difficult challenge. That right foot that catches the right ankle of Simonson. You can see grasp it right away.
You know, it's interesting because he grabbed at his opposite hip on that first touch and sort of awkwardly lunged for it, and then that tackle comes in. By the way, it's Leland on the lineup card. It's Simonson on the jersey, and that's what he was known as during his time at St. John's. I mean, they still don't know what he is. I'm not talking about his name, though. I'm talking about his position. Even Dave Mazur used to say, yeah, we could use him anywhere. Okay, but where should you use him? That's not a knock on a Hall of Fame coach. It's just he's got so many skills that no one can seem to figure this out. Here's Simonson on the ball. Laid that through nicely. Away from Diarra. Diarra stabs it back. And turning Lewis. And whittles it out to Johnson.
You look at the roster as well. Him, Nicky Downs as well as had the time playing center back, playing winger. Now he's playing as
number 9,
a defensive midfielder, Nicky, and then you have Simonson up top. Just the fluidity, able to play different positions. It's just going to be so good for them in their future and the development as a player. But it really does help this front line of Loudoun United. Simonson so comfortable on the ball, popping off that back line. You just saw, like you alluded to moments ago, Mike, ball outside the foot into the path of Diarra. Touch of class from the former St. John's player.
Di Pietro. Only his 8th start at Loudoun this year. Got signed by DC as their 17th homegrown player over the offseason. That skips through awkwardly and struck toward frame. That's going to bounce wide harmlessly. Notably tonight, no Jeremy Garay. Ironically, he's in DC, but it's not to play with United. It's to play with the El Salvador national team under Hugo Perez.
You look at your top of your screen, Buzzati is just so high and wide. So you have to have that balance in that back line for Hartford Athletic. You don't want to see Joel Johnson get to the attack as you have both outside backs pushed up. If you're Ryan Martin, you have to be aware of that and tell your boys your first pass needs someone to be spinning into that space. Your first look needs to be to break lines to go forward.
Well, if you look at Hartford, they're 7 in the attacking half pressing at this point. It's not a press every trigger, every back pass moment, but they're definitely aggressively positioned.
This gives you the trust that Tab Ramos has in his boys as well. Style of play that he wants to play. A big emphasis on these outside backs.
Oh, that was excellent. Right up to the potential handball. Daniel Chesky allows play to continue. Apparently that arm was in the motion of running. IFAB has left us all confounded. There's a good chance we could spend the next 67 minutes contemplating the handball rule.
Yeah.
That's just part of a meeting with Pro. Is this a handball? I was wrong about 80% of the time. Beyond Simonson and away from Diarra. Lewis. You never contemplated getting your refereeing certificate, badge, anything, no?
No.
You still got juice in those legs, Ricky.
Not anymore. 90 minutes.
You weren't box to box even when you were playing.
No. It's not me. Not in my locker.
Scoreless between Loudoun and Hartford, both eliminated from the postseason. Hartford has won 3 in a row, and they've done so soundly. 9 goals scored, 1 conceded in that time. For Loudoun, it's been a little bit tougher run. Diarra for Simonson.
JR is finding a lot of success in the pockets between Jadama and Joel Johnson on this right-hand side for Loudoun United. It's always difficult when you set up with the single pivot of Tom Brewitt. Has so much to cover. That's when you have to have a lot of communication, passing players on, whether it's through the center backs, the outside backs, whatever it may be. But keep an eye on the middle three, Cudi Pietro, Kamarni Smith, and Diarra for Ryan Martin's Loudoun United side. If they're able to find those pockets between the lines, they're going to have a lot of success in asking a lot of questions of Hartford Athletic.
Jadama. Johnson. For Martinez. Nobody behind him. That was a solo mission.
Just haven't been on the same page. His attacking unit. Retav Ramos' boys. Mario Martinez. We haven't rarely said Peter Lee Vassell's name as well. We need to get him going, such a special player. Ramos really fancies him, like he alluded to on our phone call.
Smith seeking Simonson. Slide in from Tulu. There's only been 1 draw in the history of this. The other 10 games, all Hartford wins. It was actually a pretty entertaining draw at that. Shane Wheat and Elvis Amo scored for Loudoun. And goals from Nagelstad and Alex Dixon in the 89th minute to equalize. That was during that 2020 run where Hartford won the group.
Yeah.
I mean, only to see St. Louis show up in all their blaze of glory. And Roddy Jaidi did a really wonderful job with that group. Downs. Robinson. Vassell. Stieg. Downs. Played for Hartford 2 years, 34 appearances. Connecticut native. Sure, there's a little extra in this game for him. That's turned over awkwardly. Simonson spins. Flicks it over for Cudi Pietro. The world stops spinning for a brief span, and Daniel Chesky allows it to spin again. And down goes Martinez. He's fallen off his axis too.
These situations, if you're Simonson, you have to be a bit more selfish as you get this ball in the half turn, right inside that 18-yard box. Why not just pull the trigger? Ask questions of Yodel, put him under pressure. You look to go for the highlight reel pass, trying to scoop, and it's always difficult when it's just so close to the goal. But again, it's just this pressure from Diarra, making life extremely difficult for this back line of Hartford Athletic. A bit too casual from Joel Johnson, leads to a turnover. They're having a very difficult time to find that connection, playing out of the back. Mario Martinez, player that wants to the ball to feet, trying to go in behind, trying to go him play as a target man, but that's not really his game. So if you're in the middle three, whether Pruitt, Lewis now, connect passes, move the ball from left to right. Again, it just breaks down the middle of the field here. There's a hard foul on Husu Landry.
Fan in the stands who's trying to coax the officials into carding Ariel Martinez. It's going to take a little more effort than that. Cut out by Vassell. Brought down by Husso. Vassell. Simonson went a long way to ultimately commit a foul and pick up a yellow card with it.
And it's a good run from Vassell to escape away from Simonson, who does a sloppy turnover. Really clever. As he gets a better body position, if he feels any contact, he's going to stop his run, which he does. Really forces the hand of Simonson. Now it's an opportunity for Hartford Athletic. Little magician Danny Barrera whipped this ball in right between that 6-yard box and penalty Marcus's intended area. Catch that man out of no man's land. Mudu needs to be very decisive. Does he go? Does he stay? Gets off his line. Needs to get any sort of contact on this ball.
You know, credit to Daniel Chesky. Went over and had a conversation with Ariel Martinez. Just one of those cautionary moments rather than immediately pulling out a yellow card and making this game a little too jittery, stop-start. What do you like from here? This has gotten a little more distant.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Joel Johnson pull away, make it a single-man wall, or even just play into Andre Lewis, who has a ton of real estate. Again, you're aiming for, if you go in directly, you're aiming for that penalty spot.
There's Barrera, aimed it at the spot. And Loudoun on the run. Ooh. Odell climbs the mountain. Ricky, I'm interested, from your time at Creighton, and then you went through Monarchs and RSL in 2018 as a draft pick of RSL, and then you found your way to Lansing and eventually Fort Lauderdale. Deal with a coaching change in any of those? Mid-season?
No, never.
You listen to Tab Ramos, and I don't want to say he's grading on a curve, but he's sort of going, look, there's been a lot of change, a lot of adversity that these players have had to go through, and to their credit, they've welcomed me with open arms because I'm coming in with ideas. And yes, that's going to be the lay of the land moving forward, but you know, there are situations where 8 games left in the season, some guys are thinking, well, they're not going to pick up my option anyways, or I'm out of contract at the end of the year. Just try not to get hurt and move on to next year. It doesn't seem like anyone's taking that opinion. As this angles all the way to the end line, kept in, back to Smith from Diarra, and teed up with a deflection. Johnson launches into orbit.
Well, it's not very often you get a clean slate, and especially in the middle or towards the end of the season, able to, those players that once were, they're not going to pick up my option now, is like, hey, I can be a starting 11 player for this head coach if he likes me. Always an opportunity to prove yourself. Not only Tab Ramos, any team that's playing against you now, the contract, that's the beauty of this USL Championship. Every team is always looking to get better, whether it's Loudoun United, for example, looking to the MLS side, Hartford Athletic, if it's Tav Ramos. If it's not Tav Ramos, it's another team that they're playing against. Once you cross that white line, and it's a duty as a professional, you have to put your 100% on it. You have to be performing at your best, because it is a result-driven business, and if you're not producing results, your time is going to be cut extremely short. Talking to Tav Ramos, he said the boys have responded extremely well, and you see just the results: 3 goals in all 3 of their last games, 3 wins. Coach Tav Ramos, he wants to play it expansive. He wants to get into the attack. He wants to be in transition. The boys are showing it right now.
Ball through Barrera. Offside. Let's tell you that Select is celebrating its 75th anniversary. Select proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. Choose what you play with at SelectSportAmerica.com. Select, League's choice, Ricky's choice.
What's your choice?
No, it's Select. Stevenson just got dumped. This struck from range. Never in doubt. Rousseau drove it wide of Odell.
There's these little pockets that Loudoun United is finding right on top of this 18-yard box between the lines. Very Huso, you have the real estate, why not? Why not test the goalkeeper? Yes, you don't hit it as cleanly as you would like. Just the intention.
Faganboni. Proud Hartford fan, Hartford Green Monster, says on social media that they're missing the first half, but it's worth it because they're getting white clam pizza from Pepe's. You know, I had Tab Ramos on SiriusXM FC a couple weeks ago when he got hired for the job. We were talking about New Jersey pizza versus my New York pizza versus Connecticut pizza, and I don't really get to Virginian pizza, although I'd be intrigued to know what that is. Nevertheless, he said he's never seen so many pizza joints. Yeah. And yet it doesn't sound like he's had anything with a clam on it yet. Ricky's been eating South Florida gluten-free pies.
Hey, I was just in New York. I had some pizza.
I hope so.
Every day.
Anything surprise, impress you from the match through 38 minutes? You're about 3/4 of the way through the first half.
I mean, first of all, you just have to look at the mentality. Every 50-50 ball, both sides are going after it like they have a ton to play for, which they do. I've been very impressed with Loudoun, how good they've been in possession, how disciplined and patient they've been. It seems there's another difficult, hard challenge from Johnson coming through the back of Cudi Pietro. So far, 39 minutes in, I think Loudoun has had probably the better of the ball. Both teams are not threatening each other's goals. If you take a look at this replay here, it's a hard challenge from Johnson. He knows what he's doing. Maybe a bit of frustration from the experienced left back, Hartford Athletic. This game just seems like it's been both feeling each other out, not really testing. I mean, Odell and Mudio haven't had much to do at all. The game is calling for someone to produce a bit of magic, whether it's an individual piece of brilliance, combination play. It's been very cagey, especially in the middle of the field.
Spins through for Lewis. Trying to get away from Downs. Brewitt backstopped it. Barrera further. And whipped in front. Martinez, a header. Bounced calmly to Zamudio.
Most active side for Hartford Athletic has been just coming through. Yunus Boudadi, as he advances, puts in a really good ball in. Martinez gets a better body position of Jalen Robinson, but unfortunate enough for him, straight at Zamudio, easy save for the Loudoun United goalkeeper.
That's run all the way back by Jadama. 5 minutes remaining in the first half. Two of the top teams in the East will meet this weekend. Memphis 901 FC travels to Louisville City as both sides look to secure the top spot in the conference. Don't miss a minute. The USL on ESPN Deportes continues Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 Pacific. It's live in Spanish on ESPN Deportes, or you can watch in English on ESPN Plus. That's going to find its way all the way through. Cutback ball. Vassell was one-on-one with the keeper and tried to find Lewis, the opposite post. One pass too many.
And again, as you don't have a true number 9, this is the instinct that you're missing. The killer inside that 18-yard box. If you're Vassell, you need to have a goal on goal. You're 7 yards out. Either put it far post, near post. Really a big head scratcher for Ty Ramos as he tries to sweat this ball across to Lewis. We'll give credit to Nicky Downs. He comes back, recovery run, puts out for a corner kick. But what an opportunity that goes to the wayside for Hartford Athletic to open up the scoring right before halftime.
Johnson, near post, header to the backside. Vassell ran out of real estate. You could say one awkward moment for Matai defensively that just got away from Martinez. Other than that, not a lot of chances conceded by Loudoun. Right now, that's half the battle, just conceding fewer chances, making fewer mistakes. You could argue that's really the only major mistake they've made.
And it's also something to expect when you have players coming in and out of the lineup, not able to get comfortable with each other, especially center backs, outside backs, understanding the tendencies. It's one of the challenges that Ryan Martin has to deal with playing as an MLS affiliate.
Here they go again through Robinson. That's a clever leave off. Green. Pressure from Sadie, and Brewitt finished the job. So it's Sadie that gets the yellow card, not Brewitt. He's the one who made that initial contact, and Green sort of staggered through the challenge and went down in the end.
But again, it's just this movement from DR playing off the shoulder of Brewitt, pulling him out of position. And then you have Jacob Green doing extremely well to cutting in, breaking lines through his willingness to run with the ball. And it just causes all sorts of problems. Who's going to get it for Hartford Athletic? Who's going to match up? Who's going to go with the runner? Who's going to step to the ball? And you have Prince Sadie pick up a yellow card.
So Sadie goes into the book. You know who recommended him to Hartford? We'll get there in a moment. Cudi Pietro crossing. Skimmed clearance off of Martinez. Pushed forward again. Yanked down by Odell. Former Red Bull and DC United player Lloyd Sam.
There you go.
Current Charlotte FC lead commentator. Lloyd Sam.
Lloyd Sam.
MLS legend. Brewitt, Martinez, Budati, a proud Blue Jay. Now he's a wounded Blue Jay. See, Sadie picked up the earlier yellow card. Stick around at halftime. We're going to really contemplate what the brackets might look like. In the East, it's actually a pretty fun exercise. In the West, it's a pretty weird game of Jenga right now.
Which is crazy. I don't think we've ever seen a season like this.
They're all still
It's incredible.
able to get in, all 13.
Incredible.
And meanwhile, in the East, 7 in, 7 out, already done. 1 minute of stoppage time. Let's see if Barrera, no, it's Johnson. Suso. It's poorly maintained by Hartford. It's Loudoun on the run. It's Green. Leading Camarnie Smith. Hartford got 8 behind the ball in less than 10 seconds.
It's something that you love to see. It's something, Tab Ramos, you're writing down in your notebook saying just the willingness, even that picture right there.
So there's a yellow card to Tulu, which must have been off the ball as that was transitioning the other way.
A yellow card has been issued in the 46th minute to Hartford Athletics, number 4, Tulu.
Well, Simonson just walked into the picture. I do wonder if Tulu made contact with him while they were running back the other way. Be the logical explanation. And there's halftime. Well, what do you make of the first 46 minutes, 45 seconds?
I think it's been very good in the middle of the field, but once you get into that final third, for both teams, it's just been lacking the understanding on the same page. If you're Hartford Athletic, you need to get Danny Barrera on the ball. He is your special player. He wears number 10 for a reason. Barely any touches in that final third. Loudoun United keep doing it, keep playing around the edges of Tom Brewitt, putting him and pulling him out of position. That's where you're going to have the most success, playing through the middle of the field and turning that back line of Hartford Athletic facing their own goal. Really interesting to see the next 45 minutes.
All right, well, we've got 45 minutes to go, and we'll also take a look at what the playoff picture looks like. These teams may not be a part of it, but certainly fans from both sides be paying attention to the trophy they hope they'll attain next year. Loudoun Hartford, scoreless at the interval here in Leesburg.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Welcome back to Loudoun County. Scoreless between Loudoun and Hartford. Who knows? Maybe tonight's the night Loudoun accumulates their first ever victory over Hartford. I'll have to do it without Jeremy Garay, but for the best of reasons, the 19-year-old from Woodbridge, Virginia, represents El Salvador in international play. He'll do so next week with El Salvador against Peru at Audi Field. 19 championship appearances this year. The midfielder has scored once, assisted another. On loan from DC United, where he played in the Open Cup for the club. Any of those, little baby, that's kind of down your alley, right?
Little baby, yeah, I'm a fan of that. Carne asada, favorite food. You know what carne asada is?
I do.
Okay. And then places you like to visit. France. You've been to France?
I have.
There you go.
Yeah, and I'm from Cleveland, so LeBron James. Jeremy, you and I are a lot closer than you might think. Let's take a look at the brackets here. This is what the Eastern Conference looks like right now. The USL Championship playoffs this year are presented by Hisense. They kick off on the 22nd of October. And right now, it'd be Legion against Pittsburgh. Remember, last year, that was the 4-5 matchup that got canceled because Pittsburgh had a COVID outbreak. Birmingham has still never hosted a home playoff game. They hope that changes.
And you look at one above, Tampa Bay and Detroit. Detroit beating Tampa Bay recently, and then you have Miami and Memphis. The East is extremely tight in talent. Obviously, fighting for seeding now, but it's anyone's pick. I mean, I personally, I'm taking a Bob Willie side in that Legion one. Taking Tampa.
Okay.
And I'm going Miami over Memphis in the upset.
Whoa, okay there. For what it's worth, Memphis plays Louisville. There's a 5-point gap right now. Louisville wins that game. It's borderline impossible to see them not taking in the #1 seed. But if Memphis wins, fight to the finish. Memphis plays at AutoZone Park. That's uncomfortable to play in. Here's a look at the Western Conference right now. These are the 7 that are currently there. Monterey Bay wins today. They go all the way to 6th. I mean, this is a beautiful, nightmarish disaster, and I love it.
And you have Orange County defending champs, bottom of the table, still in contention. You have Phoenix Rising as well. What are they going to say with Wangera? But look at these. I mean, if it started today, Sacramento, El Paso, that is highlight reel worthy. Switchbacks with Fallen have been little news coming up as well.
Yeah, sounds like there's some rumors swirling around Colorado Springs, which would be intriguing. And then, San Diego, maybe this is their year to make a little bit of a run here. These sides will be watching the postseason, maybe get a little golf in. Still got a lot of soccer to play. 45 more minutes coming up.
I'm on that real team. I'm on that real team.
Goes topics. I mean, yeah, let's talk about today we're gonna go topics.
Roll it down.
I am.
You don't need a car to listen to Sirius XM. You can listen anywhere. You know that, right?
What? Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio.
Kevin, you could use your phone.
What? What?
Alexa, play Kevin Hart's Laugh Out Loud Radio on Sirius XM.
What?
This is how I know you're getting old. I guess that was it.
What?
Louisville City grabs the lead. And there's the goal. Right on cue. Wilson Harris sends this place into a frenzy.
Knocks it into the back of the net, and 901 FC's got the lead. The goal! What a thing of beauty! You could not have drawn that up any better.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Unbelievable! What a goal! What a moment! The ultimate upset when it mattered the most.
Just a bit outside. And our last
Under the lights here in Loudoun County. Welcome back to Leesburg. Good crowd tonight on this wet Wednesday. Hartford and Loudoun scoreless at halftime. Mike and Ricky, let's take a look at news and notes from the USL Championship and beyond. Still trying to figure out who's in. The Eastern Conference is done. Mentioned it earlier. The West is awesome. The championship, we now know, will be played November 13th. The final date is confirmed. It's all presented by Hisense. You know, it's great to see that we've got a plan in place here to take this thing all the way to November 13th in a year where I think there's never been a lack of a favorite like this.
It's anyone's. Yeah. You can't put a finger on. You have, I mean, even in the Western Conference, Colorado Springs came out firing. Now San Antonio and San Diego just clinched their spot in the East. So much talent, but I'm really excited to see how it plays out.
Yeah. Let's get you caught up elsewhere here. This is the schedule, which picks back up on Friday. If Monterey Bay wins today, RGV can go take that playoff spot right back against Charleston, who added Lee Cohen as their new club president this week. The Rowdies, his former club, take on Birmingham in a game that could be really decisive as it relates to 3, 4, 5. And if the Rowdies are to make a run up the table, it'll probably have to start there. And then 1v2. You don't see very many of these.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. Lynn family is going to be yopping against Memphis 901, and then you have San Antonio hosting the Open Cup finalists in Sacramento Republic. So really competitive weekend of matches in USL Championship.
It's going to be whatting?
Yopping. You never heard that?
I bet Jeremy Garay has. 19. Segra Field here in Leesburg. We've got plenty more action coming up on the other side of the break. It's yopping here. Back in a moment.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
Welcome back. It's yopping here in Loudoun County. Loudoun and Hartford scoreless at the break. Let's show you all the highlights from the first half. There are several. Yeah, let's get after it. Not a lot of shots on target in this game. We start in the 3rd minute of play. Loudoun showing an inclination to get forward.
And they had the most success when they're winning second balls in between the lines, right behind that midfield line, in front of that back line. Here's an opportunity here that just gets pulled a bit too wide from Cudi Pietro, but he's been active. Him, Diarra, Stevenson, Kemarni Smith have been asking all sorts of questions of Hartford Athletic. Hartford Athletic had a difficult time trying to get into the rhythm. This is probably a good opportunity, understanding between Joel Johnson and Ariel Martinez, but just lacking that final touch. Denny Barrera, you can see the catalyst of it all, but hasn't had much impact on this game, so look for him to get on the ball a bit more in the second half.
All right, Martinez stands over the ball for Hartford. The second half is upcoming here. Hartford looking for their foxhole guys. They've gotten positive results in 5 straight games and opportunities galore this year and beyond. This Hartford side, the fan base starved for a winner. For Loudoun, a win here tonight, and they're officially eliminated from contention. No, not the playoffs, the wooden spoon, which they've accumulated a couple years running. Chance to avoid the lowest point total in the league and perhaps go jump a couple teams down the stretch here. And on the right note, false start, number 8 of the defense. 0-yard penalty. Martinez kicks again. All right, let's do it. Tulu, what do you want to see from this second half?
Your top problems are telling your middle 3 to get on the ball more. Specifically, Peter, Lee Vassell, and Barrera. Players that are so special in what Tab wants to do with the fluidity, the transition moments in that middle third. Know where to pull the strings, be the general. Really made their impact felt. And if you're Ryan Martin, Loudoun United, keep doing what you're doing, but you need to be a bit more clinical in that final third. You're having a lot of success when you're pulling Tom Brewitt out of position. That's going to be the key, to expose that man right there, to keep those back line honest and on their back heels.
This is Sadie. Budati turns the corner, laces that across. Wrong-sided Vassell, picked up by Johnson. Brewitt can go from there. Zamudio wasn't really bothered by it, but that was dipping in a way that looked far more menacing than off his foot.
You just feel the different tempo being played for Hartford Athletic. As his ball pops out here to Tom Brewitt, he has one idea what he's trying to do, trying to find that far post. It's always going to go up and over. And again, good attacking phase 1 minute into the second half for Tab Ramos' boys.
This is dangerous here for Loudoun. All the way to the edge, Cudi Pietro. Odell.
I think he just does a bit too much, Cudi Pietro. As he skips away from Jadama, you need to pull the trigger, have a go on goal. As you go to the byline and closes down your angle, you just see the ability to skip away. And again, I keep mentioning it, but if you get by Tom Brewitt, you're going to have a lot of real estate and a lot of options going forward.
Martinez is trying to bring the pressure with him. Shots. 9 total, 6 for Loudoun.
Great ball.
That broke a line. Cudi Pietro continues. Kemarni Smith. Smith angles inward to the top of the 6. Downs on more the possession at this point. Now Cudi Pietro kept it alive. Diarra goes tumbling through. Real intent from Loudoun here in the first 3 minutes of the second half.
And it's just slow in rotation, covering for each other for Hartford Athletic. Talk about a bit of class from Simonson, but look at how late Jadama is to cover Tulu. It's Joel Johnson putting the last-ditch defending effort. You're able to break a line. It's that second reaction that's far too slow for Hartford Athletic. And again, Loudoun United doing extremely well, playing from that midfield into that front line. See how soft feet Simonson has as he is at focal point.
Loudoun fans themselves heard here. Maybe Cudi Pietro can put them on the board. He has. He scored again. 2 games running. Loudoun leads. And maybe Loudoun can grab their first win in 12 tries against Hartford tonight.
And this is to perfection if you're Ryan Martin. First, it's this ball from Nicky down into the feet of Simonson that pulls out Jadama. And then talk about a change of pace, understanding how direct he is, Cudi Pietro. That first touch leaves Tulu in his dust, and then it's a matter of being composed to skip it by Odell. Brilliant take from that man right there, Ted Cudi Pietro, to put Loudoun United 1-0 in the lead.
Is that not exactly what Ryan Martin hoped would happen? That the center back would pull up alongside Simonson. The layoff ball was there, and Cudi Pietro breaks through and gets the job done. That's exactly how it was scripted.
That's when a little pat on your back if you're Ryan Martin said, hey, X knows what to bring it out on the game plan during game day. It has to be something that every coach dreams of. But give credit to one, Simonson, to soft feet, just to pull it out on the outside of his right foot. And then Cudi Pietro, he takes a touch that's close to him. Tulu's able to close his space, but he puts it out in front of him, lets him run on, knows he has the momentum against Tulu. Such a well-worked goal for Loudoun United.
Akimboni picks up the yellow card here, first of his young pro career.
Number 41, Latai Akimboni.
45 minutes as part of a clean sheet effort against RSL in MLS. And comes back to Loudoun, richer for the experience, getting his first pro start. Primarily was viewed as a left-footed left center back, playing at left back tonight when he initially arrived. Let's take another look at what basically ended up being perfectly drawn up.
And I just touched on the lack of rotation defensively. As Jadama pushes up, Tulu needs to drop in. He needs to cover his center back. He can't be touched tight with Cudi Pietro, because you see what happened, just one ball, one touch past the line. It's off to the races. It's just that understanding as a center back pairing. Once again, they're under pressure.
Here they come again. Cudi Pietro, who sliced an epic ball to Camarnie Smith back in the first half. Wasn't able to get that to Diarra that time, but play continues. Simonson holds it up. Cudi Pietro, like it's on a string around Brewitt. Overlap arrives. Simonson brought it down, tries to keep it alive toward Diarra, and away.
You have to give credit to Simonson. It's not easy playing with your back to goal with how physical Tulu and Jadama are. Putting pressure on you, have a soft touch to bring it down, pull players in. It's been brilliant 53 minutes into this match for Ryan Martin's side.
Camarnie Smith chasing at Odell. And you know something? In some ways, Ryan Martin coaches with an arm tied behind his back in a lot of these games. He'd love to have an extra Nicky Downs on his roster. That's not the way this group was constructed to operate. Really good there from Johnson, the player who featured in La Liga early in his career. But tonight being his 100th game, as this ushered through and out of the reach of Budati, We were talking to him a little bit about his progression as a manager as well in the lead up to this, and I asked him at the start of the year, it's got to be frustrating. There are nights where they really get their teeth kicked in a little bit, and there's some tough lessons that they have to learn, and he views incremental progress as what it is, but at times it's hard as a coach. It's great that you learned under the great John Harkes. It's great that you played collegiately, but you're in the pro game and you keep seeing those losses pile up and you start to wonder about yourself. And hopefully moments like that sort of show what he's capable of helping build, the same way he probably wished he got a piece of Paredes' transfer fee when he made the move.
But it's also, yes, the results have been extremely hard to come by for Ryan Martin. But two, you can't let that affect you, especially these players are looking up to you in the locker room. You are their leader, essentially. And if you have that bit of doubt in the way you speak, the way that you carry yourself, it's going to trickle down. But you can just see these Loudoun United boys, 15-year-old on the field playing for him right at the moment, believe in themselves because he believes in them. And he believes in himself as well. He believes in the process to know, look, yes, it's a result-driven business, but my goal essentially is to get you into the next level, to get you seen by the right people, and you're going to develop here. And it's just a testament of how well Ryan Martin has done. Just as, yes, the X and O's, the way that they play, but in terms of mentality as well, the character to fight in and be in every single game this late in the season when essentially the playoffs are out of the picture.
So waiting to return here after being attended to. I mean, he graduated from Ohio Wesleyan in 2005. It's been a really intriguing sort of career path that's gotten him here, but I would imagine he intends to be here to stay. That's a major scoreline. Detroit and Red Bulls are currently scoreless in the 56th minute. Now look, Red Bull, that's a whole different kettle of fish. They are going to leave with a whimper, not a bark, here from the championship at the conclusion of the season, the winner, the 2016 title. But Detroit, coming in as expansion team this year, has probably outpaced the expectations of all except their fans, their locker room, and their coach with where they're at right now. If they finish with a draw, Miami has a chance to jump them here. They give up that game in hand, only 2 points ahead. But they fail to catch Pittsburgh, and they'd be 4 points behind Birmingham with 4 games to go to try and get to a home playoff spot. So this was considered, one would imagine, the gimme down the stretch for them. And Red Bull never seems to make it that simple. Ball punched across AD. Good from Green. Streaks in front of Johnson. Detroit's interesting going into the postseason. They've only conceded 25 goals. That's second best in the league. They may not be able to play at Keyworth if the current standings remain as is and they aren't able to jump all the way into 4th in the first round. But defense travels.
That's true.
Gadula is going to come on and replace Vassell here.
Hartford Athletics substitution in the 58th minute.
Substitution brought to you by Segra. First change for either side.
Now entering the match, number 3, Logan Gadula. All substitutions are brought to you by
Gadula
Segra.
got signed by Harry Watling. Essentially sat him down. He played there in 2019 for Hartford. Said this is a 25-day prove-it deal. Come in, right mentality, at the right fitness, right level. You'll get signed through the end of the year. If you don't, it'll be 3.5 weeks.
Yeah. He's going to slot right into that middle 3. Right next to Brewitt and Pereira. That's the ability to play different positions. Is so touched on it earlier, talking about Simonson, talking about Nicky Downs for Loudoun United. Logan Gadula just showing the ability to play outside back, to play in the middle of the field, to play right wing or whatever it may be.
Ooh, offside. Simonson can't believe it. Neither can Diarra, for that matter. Budati.
Great ball.
That's going to sneak through. Barrera got pushed away. Still Gadula. A little slow to react there. He gave enough time for the young defender, Akamboni, to get out there.
Yeah, those are the opportunities. You take your first touch out of your feet and just whip this ball in. A ton of blue jerseys inside that 18-yard box.
Barrera, wow. Look, no one can knock his technical ability. Really, there's not a lot to knock about Danny Barrera when you talk to this coaching staff. His leadership in the room, exemplary, and one of the all-time great assist getters in the league. Bumsteeg. Zamudio. Rising up Tulu. That's a push from Teku Di Pietro, the goal scorer, back in the 50th minute. Take a look when the ball leaves his foot here from Simonson. I think the furthest back defender is actually number
Budati.
2 there, Budati.
I think he's on. I think Diarra is onside. You can see the disbelief. There is an argument to be had if you're Loudoun United.
Well, and what's disappointing for Diarra is he was looking down the line, perhaps better than the official in that moment. Smith tees that up. It found its way all the way to Diarra. Back heels it back. Downs. Simonson spinning. Simonson commits the foul. That was an absolute chaotic, unmitigated mess.
Again, it's just Simonson being able to play in traffic, just pulls his ball down. A dicing ball from Nicky Downs. See how can Bodie go down in the lower part of your screen.
Di Pietro's gone to check on him. And he's saying that may be a head injury. So let's take a look at this for a moment.
Just look at this touch here from Simonson, how tight it is and how close he keeps his ball to him. Yes, he gets away from good defensive effort from Tom Brewitt, and that is why he's in the middle as that focal point to help defensively to cover Tulu and Chadama on the front half of it.
And all eyes go to Akamboni. So some time in MLS next, and then came in, played 4 games here for Loudoun United, brought in to DC United for a game by Wayne Rooney this past week. But 6'3" at the age of 15. And, you know, I liked how he was first described to me. Elite prospect, fine, but Ryan Martin said, look, we're investing our time. We really think he's got that kind of future. Here's the change. Akamboni comes off, and Zane comes on. Sub brought to you by Segra. You know, there's a good chance Akamboni, whose YouTube account is packed with highlights, which I was trying to watch to get a better grip on his style of play in the lead up to this game. He's getting close to the point where he's not going to be the one who needs to post highlights anymore. People do it for him. Di Pietro, free kick. That might come with a card. That did come with a card.
Then going forward for Hartford Athletic, the positioning of Tom Brewitt is going to be massive, especially on turnovers. He does extremely well to end this transition moment. But again, if you're able to skip away from him, you have tons of real estate. It's a 4v3 going back the other way for Loudoun United. So that man, number 5 in a blue jersey, needs to be very disciplined in his positioning offensively and defensively.
So Brewitt shown yellow. Key, Tulu, and Sadie are on yellows for Hartford. Simonson and previously Akamboni before he came off were on yellow cards allowed. Sadie. Here comes Hartford charging. Gadula. Lewis. Served in front, past Budati, and bounces right up to Zamudio. Previous card was, in fact, on Brewitt.
Again, you just see what happens when Danny Barrera gets on the ball, his head up at the whole time, and it's a brilliant run from the right back, Budati, getting in front of Vomsteeg. It's a very difficult technical ability just to pull it back around your standing foot. In the end, once again, easy save from Zamudio, who hasn't had much to do tonight.
The Tulu supporters getting into it. I think they support Hartford too, but really it's all about Tulu. Change here, and this is a big weapon to bring off the bench. Rousseau comes off. Tyler Freeman is on. Sub brought to you by Segra.
Number 19, Husu Landry. Now entering the match, number 11, Tyler Freeman. All substitutions are brought to you by Segra.
Second sub, second window for Loudoun. Hey, don't miss a minute of the action in 2022 as the playoff race intensifies. Whether your club is on the road or at home, catch nearly every second of the championship on ESPN+, the home to USL, MLS, La Liga, Bundesliga, UFC, and more. Sign up today, plus.espn.com. Friday, ESPN Deportes will cover the Louisville-Memphis game in Spanish. Jesus Acosta, lead voice for the league. Won't have his usual tag team partner, Jose Rodriguez. He's off calling Honduras, Argentina.
Decent game to call.
Delightful call up.
There you go.
Nevertheless, the show will go on, and in English it'll be on ESPN+, that 1v2 matchup, and then a ton of good action over the weekend. I can't really remember a weekend where...
No.
This is probably the best week of the season I've seen in terms of matchups that I want to watch. Simonson's sort of grabbing the back of his head. Zane, Cudi Pietro, thumbs up there from Simonson. The wires were crossed.
And it's a good idea from Cudi Pietro. As this ball comes out, he likes to go one time into the feet of Simonson. That really unlocks a lot of space. The secondary runner just lacking the accuracy on that spot. Cudi Pietro, who's been, again, a bright spot for Ryan Martin in the middle of the field. Just seems like Hartford Athletic are unable to find an outlet when they force a turnover in their defensive half. whether it's sideways or backwards, it's never into the feet of Danny Barrera. It's never into the feet of Ariel Martinez. Well, you don't see a lot of combination plays like those two live and die on. So special with the movement, pulling players out of position as we see them link up right now.
Perhaps saw why they were able to sneak through midfield quite so easily. Service across, bouncing in front, an awkward sort of stab to clear it. That was Budati creating the danger moment. Simonson. The good news is Rashawn Dolly is available, hadn't been in the previous game. We still have Juan Carlos Obregon as well, so got a couple attacking options that could maybe play a different role than the one we've seen off the bench should Tab Ramos decide to go that way.
And I think you need a true and true out number 9 on this roster on the field. Good idea here from Simonson. Joel Johnson once again quick to realize the shift over and rotate and help his center backs. We've been caught out of position quite often in this match because that man has been so good occupying both center backs. You're able to have Tab Ramos, Obregon Jr. stay high and be that focal point in the attack, and then you have Danny Barrera and Ariel Martinez underneath them, having a lot of real estate to operate in. If you can get those guys on the same page, playing as the true playmakers, this attacking unit for Hartford Athletic is going to be extremely dangerous.
Back heel, Freeman! Freeman! Oh, what a goal for Loudoun! Jaw-dropping technical finish. 2-0 Loudoun United.
And again, it just comes from the vision, the technique of Simonson to draw out Tulu. And then Freeman, when he's in that situation inside the 18-yard box, you're betting his money on him with the quality that he possesses, right foot, left foot, like clockwork. No celebration needed. Knew that ball hit the back of the net as soon as he hit it. It's 2-0. Loudoun United as Tyler Freeman gets his 7th goal on the year.
Jasil Cedeno enters into the game. Barrera and Martinez come off. Obregon on as well. Substitutions are brought to you by Segra. So Hartford throws their chips into the middle of the table here. Second sub window, second and third subs used. That assist by Simonson was filthy.
He's been the ability to play as a single pivot on the front line is something to hold the ball back and bring players in, but to have the vision to drag players out of position as well, and then dish the ball at the right time, the right amount of pace. It's top-level stuff there from Simonson.
Obregon Jr. and number 21, Jasil Cedeno. All substitutions brought to you by Segra.
Contact, Freeman kept it alive. Back through downs. 10-0-1 all-time Hartford against Loudoun. 31 of the 33 points they've taken in the series. Although they faced a 2-goal deficit about 75 minutes in back in 2020 and found a way to pull out a draw. And you listen to whether it be Juan Guerra, who just took over, Blair Gavin, who just took over a club, Lee Cohen go to Charleston in a front office position, Tulsa's new front office under Sam Dorr. Cudi Pietro, Freeman! Cudi Pietro's been phenomenal. Freeman has been a shot in the arm. Loudoun is 3-0 up on Hartford.
And you see what it means to these boys. Talk about turning defensive efforts into attacking opportunities. Again, slow in rotation. Tulu steps up, Jadama's close to slow down. Brilliant understanding as one peels out, one peels in. Timing to perfection, weight of the ball from Cudi Pietro. Tyler Freeman makes this look a lot easier than it is. Needs to open up his hips, put this ball to the opposite side of Loudoun to get his brace on the night. Brilliant work once again from Loudoun United in the attacking phase of this game to go up 3-0.
Tyler Freeman, what a performance. Had a brace back on March the 19th in a 3-0 win against Red Bull 2. Ball toward Obregon. That got cleared. I'm not sure we've given nearly enough credit, and I think we've given a bit to Ted Cudi Pietro. He's had a monster game.
He's been fantastic, yes. What's going to show up on the stat sheet, but as well what he does off the ball. The countless amount of running, defensive, closing down pressure, clogging passing lanes, just keeping the ball going in possession-wise as well. So influential in the middle of the field for Ryan Martin.
8 goals on the season now for Freeman, notably. That got cleared. Loudoun starting to prepare changes to try and lock this down. Service through, headed away, Jadama sits up, oh, what a save! Odell, the denial from Stieg. And offside on the rebound, Diarra. Whoa, he got all of that.
And it's such a difficult technique to pull this down and hit it on the full volley, excuse me, with pressure coming towards you. Laces down, head down, technique through and through. Big time save from Loyal to see it the whole way.
All right, here comes a pair of changes. So Azad Liati comes on. That's it for Simonson. What a performance for Skage Simonson tonight. He doesn't leave with a goal, but he did just about everything else. And Diarra comes off, and the assembled DC United Academy players are losing their minds because Gavin Turner, whose name they just chanted, just came in off the bench. Subs are brought to you by Segra. The 15-year-old enters, and somehow same age as Matayak and Boney, so 2 15-year-olds have featured in this game. Freeman signed his first pro deal at 15 with SKC a few years ago. Ball ahead, Freeman sitting on a hat trick. He's denied. And struck, bounce wide, untouched.
Freeman has his eyes on that hat trick. I think he makes a bit of a selfish decision here. Instead of giving this ball to Turner, what a story that would have been. Just roll it to the path of the 15-year-old. First touch, ball in the back of the net.
You never know what you're going to see out of this Loudoun team. This might be their best performance yet. They felt like they showed something against Louisville. Went down 3-0, bagged a couple of goals on the road, thought they had them right where they wanted them, and then watched it fall apart through a Brian Ownby 64th minute goal that allowed Louisville to pull away. Maybe Louisville just regained their focus in that moment. Ball across, surprisingly reached Obregon. Recovered, Gadula. Lewis tried to get a piece. One back by Loudoun. Zane. Oh, excellent. Cudi Pietro slid that too far for Gavin Turner.
And just feel the confidence within this Loudoun side. Crazy what one goal can do, just the movement, the understanding, to working together. What a ball from Zane coming out of nothing. To take 4 Hartford Athletic players out of the game, and just a bit too heavy from Cudi Pietro, trying to find this dicing run. Tyler Freeman.
Cudi Pietro, 50th minute. Freeman, his 7th and 8th of the season, came in a 4-minute span. 3-0 Loudoun. There is an element of, for Hartford, who cares about the result? This is, given when Tab Ramos took over the team, all about looking forward to next year, instilling a style of play, instilling a winning culture. They won their first 3 under him, but there's still a lot of work to be done. Zane, siphoned off by Gadula.
And you always knew it was going to be a challenge coming in this late. Ramos, you have a lot of talent at your disposal. There's no questions asked about that, but how can you get those guys on the same page, working together, playing to each other's tendencies, playing to each other's strengths is going to be massive going forward. You ask any coach in USL Championship if they would like to have Danny Barrera on their team, Mario Martinez, they're going to say yes without blinking an eye. So the talent is there, but just putting everything together and making everything click is going to be the big challenge for Tab Ramos going forward.
Cedeno had her down. Zamudio. I'm trying to end that 3-match losing streak after they beat Memphis. I mean, when they win, occasionally it's against Red Bull too, but otherwise it seems like it's against sort of the big boys. Still scoreless between Red Bull 2 and Detroit City right now. That's in the 83rd minute. This could be critical points dropped for Detroit. Ultimately, Ricky, every team just trying to walk out with the right posture at the end of the season. Can't watch the match? Turn on SiriusXM FC 157. It's North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights, 7 Eastern, plus live matches from USL, MLS, the English Premiership, and more, all on SiriusXM FC channel 157 and the SXM app. All for Obregon turned away. USL Championship has a bunch of games on SiriusXM coming up this week. That Louisville-Memphis game, Miami and Monterey Bay from Miami on Saturday night. And then next week, Sacramento-Phoenix, Heart Health Park out in California Capital, all channel 157, as well as on ESPN+. Freeman. Wiggling free, top of the area. Blast denied, comes out to Camarnie Smith.
just getting caught out of position, is Hartford Athletic time after time. These players in the middle of the field, yes, they're trying to find their first goal of the night, but you have to have that discipline not to get caught out. Stay in your position, Tom Brewitt. Lewis.
Turning, curling, caught by Odell. Zane. Odell feeling some type of way. Obregon deep in his bag. Downs.
But something that they were missing. Just a physical presence at the top of the line. Hartford Athletic, Obregon brings that. He had Ariel Martinez up there, but he's not a real target man. Obregon's able to bring this ball down with pressure on his backside, and then just takes a bit too long as he cuts his ball back on this left-hand foot. And to test the goalkeeper, looks to try to cut it back to his right, and that's where you see the Loudoun United players come back and defend it.
Turner. Offside. Flex back, Tulu. Spinning out Cedeno. Into the pocket, Lewis. Obregon. No support, but a free kick nonetheless. Substitutions en route. Loudoun's got 1 remaining, 2 remaining for Hartford. Hartford's gonna burn them both now. Rashawn Dolly and Luca Perpa. Subs are brought to you by Segra. That's it for Lewis.
Had a difficult time. The middle 3 for Tav Ramos, whether it's Martinez, Barrera, Lewis, unable to make their impact. Felt getting a rhythm. Get on the ball, dictate tempo, circulate the ball. Very Route 1 football for Hartford Athletic, as you see Joel Johnson making way for Rashad Dolly coming in as well.
Number 18, Rashawn Dolly. All substitutions are brought
Well,
to you by
let's say
Segra.
Obregon is a clear and present danger from here. Zamudio trying to hold on to a clean sheet. It'll be Sadie or Obregon. Straight into the wall, back out to Brewitt. Brewitt lays it ahead, Obregon, and blocked down by Zamudio. Well, for Hartford, it's gonna be a new lesson. Well, it was nearly a different lesson learned by Odell, and he got clipped as well. And look, for Hartford, all roads lead to Louisville on the 15th of October. That's how they close the year. Louisville have had 9 days off. They handle Memphis this weekend. So this rolled through. Perpa, wide. Not a bad look there from Luca Perpa. No, with Hartford, think about it this way. You're probably getting Louisville's best shot because 10 days in front of it, nothing. in theory, they get the bye. They won't play 13 days after it. So that'd be their only game in a 23-day span leading into the playoffs. So in theory, you're going to get Louisville's best 11 on that day. It's not going to be a rest your starters for the playoffs kind of performance.
Something that you brought up with our chat with Ramos as well. Said, look, we want to play against the best team in our conference at the moment, which is Lou City. How do these guys react? Last game of the season. Very easy just to go through the motions, think it's done. I've already done my work with Ramos in, but no, he wants to see what it's looked like, what's your character look like, what's your pride playing against a top team, and the competitiveness. If you're gonna show out or show down, it's a big test for Hartford Athletic and a lot to play for these players as well.
Perpa placed in front. There may yet be time for a Hartford miracle. What we're hearing from the sideline is correct. You might think this has all the makings of a 0-minute stoppage time game, but yeah, you're wrong. Alas, you are wrong. 5 added minutes.
Added time to the end of the second half. 5 minutes.
Yeah. Ryan Martin's going, really? Hey, you got to appreciate a fourth one to stick to their principles.
There you go. Rules are rules.
Yeah, this could really affect draft position. Scooped away by Zamudio. Well, 4.5 minutes here, you never know. Free kick, Hartford. Loudoun's been a little mistake prone. First it was early in games, then it was going in and out of halftime, then it was late in games, and you never know. If Hartford can get one, this could be a landslide.
I think it's the extension of the right arm from Jacob Green that catches Prince Sadie. It's always going to give an opportunity to the referee to put the mouth to the whistle. Blow that.
Perpa and Budati. It's Perpa crossing and bounced wide of the post. Obregon got up to meet that. And another player took a really rough tumble.
Something that was just lacking on that front half for this Hartford Athletic side is just a presence inside that 18-yard box, and Obregon brings that. Yes, he hasn't got on the ball as much, but just occupying the 2 center backs from Loudoun United. You pair that with players that play underneath him that want to get on the ball. It's going to be a nightmare for oppositions to defend against.
Brewitt back to his feet. Ricky, you take great pride in your hair. I would think for Brewitt, this is a pretty complex setup that he's arrived at.
I'm a fan of it. Like the David Beckham-esque at Madrid.
A little bit of that, yeah.
You can pull that off.
I could. I can't now.
You could do it now. Nice head of hair.
I'm going to have to get into Brewitt level fitness for that to look decent. Smith. It's good from Budati. Freeman. Scooping through. Didn't reach intended target Liotti. Well, for Loudoun, it's a big occasion nonetheless. Lest we forget, they may have won 11 games in 2019. They have a chance to match that, but 5 wins in totality the last 2 years. And here they are on the verge of win number 8.
Ryan Martin's 100th game in charge as well.
Ball through Cedeno. Kept it alive. And the hope of a clean sheet to mark that 100th game remains. Turner for Liotti. Liotti waiting for support, trying to get it through Tulu. And look, let's reiterate, 2019, really awkward. You bring in a coach who essentially, in a matter of 2 months, decides this wasn't for him.
Yeah.
Goes to join Bruce Arena's staff in New England. And Ryan Martin essentially got plopped into this job. They had high hopes for him in the long run. Named the DC United Academy Director in January of 2017. The plan wasn't for him to lead Loudoun, at least not yet. After leaving FC Cincinnati with John Hartz. Free kick here for Hartford. Here he is, 100 games into the project. Still going strong. Hopefully 100 more to go. As we see out the final seconds of a necessary 5 minutes of stoppage time. Plus an injury in the midst of it. Maybe we get an extra 40 seconds. Perpa. Cedeno.
It's a hard challenge there.
Yeah, Smith. Smith is going into the book.
I'll tell you what, something that you have to be extremely pleased from your boys if you're Ryan Martin. Just the ability, the last-ditch defending effort, just the numbers they put in front of the ball, in front of Zamudio, not let anything easy for Hartford Athletic. Defensively, you always want to come in and execute a clean sheet. They're really taken to that. It just shows about the character that starts from Ryan Martin to his boys. You have an objective, and to attain it, hats off to Loudoun United.
Well, we've gone well beyond the 5 minutes now. Udati for 3. No good. Full time. And Loudoun finally has a win against Hartford Athletic. 12th time is the charm. A 3-0 victory. All 3 points. Surely now they will escape the bottom of the table, Loudoun, as if it was ever in doubt. And Hartford's 3-game win streak is in the rear view as both sides try to finish on the right note in 2022.
And if you're Ryan Martin, you have to be extremely pleased defensively as we take a look at the save of the game from Zamudio.
Brought to you by Segra. Zamudio coming up with a clean sheet, and not a ton of work for him tonight.
As Zara Martinez trying to squeak that into that near post. Zamudio sees it the whole way. The understanding just lacking for Hartford Athletic on that final third. Zamudio was massive in this back line for Loudoun United to get a clean sheet.
All right, so good performance here by Loudoun. Hartford unable to crack the code. And the final score is brought to you by Segra. Loudoun 3, Hartford 0. We're going to wrap this one up on the other side of the break. All smiles. Ryan Martin's 100th occasion leading the squad. Loudoun wins it back in a flash.
This is business today. Fast, unpredictable, always changing. Shifting trends and technologies are pushing aside old rules. The unexpected is the new normal. At Segra, we'll help you navigate a complex future with state-of-the-art voice, internet, and data protection solutions. We know you have dreams, and we see your potential. Segra, freedom to grow.
finally they get to play that song again here. Skage Simonsen, tremendous. 2 goals for Tyler Freeman, a goal tonight for Ted DiPietro, and a brilliant assist along the way as well. And this Loudoun team picks up their 6th home victory of the season, their 8th of the year in totality. Let's take a look at the full-time highlights brought to you by Segra. We start in the 50th minute of play. Ted DiPietro would take care of this himself.
And Ryan Martin told this to us on our phone call with him earlier this week, saying, look, the 2 center backs for Hartford Athletic are very eager how they step off their line. So we bring Simonsen in as a false 9, and we have someone stretching the back line. Good understanding from the 2. But talk about that first touch to set him up. As Tulu is slow to coverage Adama, he gets too close to DiPietro, and he understands that, puts a nice first touch out in front of him, and it's off to the races to get his open up the goal scoring. This is just brilliant from Simonsen as he's going one way. The reverse pass with the back of his heel catches everyone just ball watching. And when you get Tyler Freeman in front of that 18-yard box, inside that 18-yard box, he's going to find the back of the net time after time.
Why does Simonsen even use the front of his foot?
To both assists outside and the back heel.
Yeah, not bad. 2 assists for Simonsen. How about 2 goals for Tyler Freeman as well? So there's the tackle from Ted DiPietro, and he would pick up an assist to go with his goal.
Freeman makes this look a lot easier. He has a lot to do as he opens up his hips. Odell goes down a bit early, just puts it into that far post. Talk about how clinical he is, Tyler Freeman, to get his 8th goal on the year. And if you're Ryan Martin, you have to be extremely pleased. From minute 1 to minute 97, you were just so good. Game plan executed. Playing around Tom Bruin was the key in that middle field, winning those second balls, putting pressure on the Hartford Athletic and that back line. If you're Todd Bromless, you're going to be extremely frustrated. Didn't really get going in that final third. Yes, you have a lot of talent, but the talent wasn't on the same page. You had time after time getting to the final third, but it broke down far too often. So all to play for this next games coming up for Todd Bromless to see what he has going into the 2023 USL Championship season.
Well, Loudoun finishes at Indy. They'll come back home on October the 1st for Detroit, go to Tampa Bay, and to Charleston for Hartford. They'll host Charleston to start October. Then Oakland the following week. They'll finish Lynn Family Stadium in Louisville, October the 15th. Loudoun United finally slays this dragon that had been hoisted over them now for 4 years' time. Their first win in 12 tries. And this one certainly not cheaper by the dozen. Final score brought to you by Segra. Loudoun wins it 3-0. So long.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.